Who is this strange man in front of me on your screen? Welcome on in, everybody, to the AZ Wildcats podcast, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. I am, of course, Damon Fairall. That is my guy, Kevin Thomas. Yes, indeed. And we are the AZ Wildcats pod, coming to you live from PHNX HQ3 in downtown Phoenix. And we are excited to be talking about the Arizona Wildcats football team getting a victory over the course of the weekend, taking care of the horrific Oklahoma State Pokes. One of the worst teams in all of college football. But Kevin, we are happy to have you back, my friend. I know that while you were not on the show over the last couple of days, you were very much still locked in on your Cats, whether it was football, whether it was the red-blue game. How are we feeling about everything? I mean, I think that people want to know your thoughts on all of it, Kevin.
Let's start there. I was gonna do this at the end of the show.
Let's start with everything.
Well, I was more so saying let's start with my takes from when I missed time this past weekend. Because I was gonna do this at the end. We can front load it now before we hit our Big 12 power rankings. Because it is Monday, and you know what we do on Monday? We do power rankings for the Big 12. And spoiler alert, I'm scared about my rankings. But
He's been freaking out all morning, people.
This past weekend though was the red and blue game first and foremost, in my opinion, and that's where I want to start. Right. My biggest takeaway from that. Dwayne Aristode, man. He is, I feel like, everything that we think he could be for Arizona. I think, the shooting that he displayed in that game, I think is going to be something he's able to transfer into the regular season of college basketball, hopefully, as well as the postseason. Bryce James got some run as well, and he can shoot that rock just like the team told us he could. And I think that maybe Bryce James is a little, I'm not saying drastically, but he's a little bit ahead of schedule compared to where we thought he was at this point in his development. And then this is kind of leading me into my big point in terms of like viewing this team for the preseason, right? Because people on Twitter, Damon, mostly one person that I'm thinking of in particular that was in my replies a couple weeks back when I was talking about this team and their improvements. I want to hear anybody telling me that this team has less shooting than last year or that they don't have shooting this year. Look at the personnel. Look at what they can do on the court. Yeah. Burries has a reliable outside shot. Dwayne Aristode, he's a 3-and-D guy. Ivan Karchenkov, I feel like will round into being a 3-and-D type of scorer, I'll say. Like, I think he can do a lot more out there offensively specifically, but he has an outside shot as well. And ADO, his range has improved. Jaden Bradley's been focusing primarily on shooting the ball in terms of his personal development. So nobody tell me that this Arizona Wildcats team does not have shooters, can't shoot the ball, and will regress in their field goal numbers from last season. I think that Tommy Lloyd was absolutely getting all the juice that he could out of last year's team in many ways, right? And I think shooting was one of those. You did not have shooters on last year's team, at least reliable ones. Yeah. Caleb Love can shoot the rock a little bit, but not reliably. Jaden Bradley, we talked about it last year. We were begging for Jaden Bradley to be able to shoot the ball more reliably last season. Hopefully, that is this season, and he actually can improve from beyond the arc. And then you add ADO, muscling up a little bit, apparently, allegedly extending his range and not sacrificing any efficiency as well. So, yeah, nobody tell me that this team can't shoot, won't shoot, or is going to regress in the shooting category.
That didn't make any sense to me. I saw that reply, Kevin. Are you aware of the percentages in that game?
Which one? Oh, the red-blue?
The shooting percentages.
No.
Because there was, is this the reply you were talking about? There was one guy that I think he tagged both of us and was basically saying that this team will get nowhere with this shooting and how they have no outside shooting prowess. Dude, the red team shot 6 of 14 from 3 and the blue team shot 5 of 10 from 3. Yeah. They combined for about 45% from 3 as a team. And on a decent amount of attempts too. I genuinely don't understand the idea that they don't have shooting. They have shooters all over the place. And I get it. The stakes are a little bit lower when the crowd's rooting for everybody and you're playing against, guys that you practice against every day. And, it's not as if it's a game type scenario, but they looked good in their first opportunity shooting the rock. So I think we're obviously going to be monitoring the outside shooting all season long. It's one of the loudest things in basketball, right? It's so obvious when your team just can't stroke it at all. And last year, for example, with this Arizona roster, it will 100% unequivocally be better than it was last year, the perimeter shooting, that is. And I also think it'll be above average and one of the better shooting teams in college basketball. But we'll see that over the course. Kevin, I am a little surprised, though, that you go ahead and you say Dwayne Aristode is your big takeaway, right? And obviously he had a great game. Dwayne Aristode, 4 of 5 shooting. It can't get more efficient than that. They can get one more efficient than that. But he really had a solid game, right? And showed a lot of what we wanted to show. I thought it was interesting that Anthony Del Orso matched him in terms of his at least field goals, 4 or 5 from the field. Also very efficient. 2 made 3-pointers from Anthony Del Orso as well, and his only 2 opportunities to shoot from 3. So I still think that this competition is fierce for that 3 spot, and no one is letting up any ground. It's almost the anti-Arizona football kicking situation where Tyler Prejean and Michael Salgado Medina were almost fighting who could be not as bad as the other guy. Total mid-off. And in this situation, it's like maybe it's the weakest position on the team in terms of like starting caliber player, but it's not a weak position compared to the rest of college basketball because you still have really, really good players that are competing for these key spots. But I got to say, Kevin, my biggest takeaway was that Brayden Burries is a dude.
He's incredible, man.
A dude. And
He's
not
incredible.
that we didn't know that he was before, but there's something about tangibly seeing it, right? And like we've been talking about how he's going to need to be kind of that Caleb Love role of just a volume scorer because there's a hole missing on this team, a volume scoring sized hole missing on this team. And he fits into it perfectly almost. But Kevin, 7 of 11 from the field, 22 points, 4 of 7 from 3, 4 of 5 from the line, led the entire team in free throw attempts. It seems like Brayden Burries was just like, give me the ball, get the hell out of the way, and I'm going to go to work. And he did so against Jaden Bradley. Yeah. Now imagine when Jaden Bradley and him are on the same team running a backcourt together. I'm just expecting fireworks. I know that like one of the big takeaways needs to be like Koa Pete didn't look great, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. But I still am so confident Koa Pete's the best player on this team and will prove that over the course of the season. But if Brayden Burries can do what he did right there and make it even a competition, like, is Koa Pete the best player on this team? I think that this team's ceiling is just so incredibly high. And not only that, Kevin, but Brayden Burries needing a bucket down a point at the end of the game.
Go get it. Go get that bucket, Brayden.
Easiest bucket of his entire career. Just took it to the rack, scored it with ease. And it's like, cool. Not only do I know that we have the Caleb Love size hole filled from a volume scoring standpoint, but now I also know that he's the guy I want with the ball in his hands if it comes down to a final shot. And I feel like that's something to take away from the Red-Blue game, despite it being just a, inter-squad scrimmage.
Let's talk about Brayden Burries some more, right? Because I know that I said Dwayne Aristode was like my biggest takeaway from a player perspective, and I think that's mostly because I think there were more question marks with Dwayne Aristode coming into the year than there were like a Koa Pete or a Brayden Burries, and like you said, Koa Pete has not really looked that good in his first opportunity to show off in front of Arizona fans, but like you said, I'm not really worried about Koa Pete necessarily, but it was a underwhelming performance from Pete. But I think Aristode, like I said, he answered a lot of questions I had, right? So I think I took away more from that. But in terms of what Brayden Burries can bring, watch out, man. Shout out to Brayden Burries' muse, who tweeted this past weekend, like, something along the lines of, like, I'm so thankful that I picked the right player to have a muse account linked to, because that's the truth, right? Brayden Burries is coming into this year and I think checks so many boxes for an elite level freshman guard, right? He's a little bit older, a little bit more physical, a little bit more experienced. He's entering a backcourt with one of the more reliable senior guards in the country. He's not going to be asked to do too much, like to a point where he can't fulfill what's on his plate. When you have guys like Aristode, Pete, Owaka, Karchenkov, Del Orso, right, to help with that production, I'm extremely excited about Brayden Burries. What stood out to me the most about Brayden Burries, in addition to everything you said, Damon, that athleticism, man. That kid can fly. That kid is fast and he can defend. And so I'm very excited about Brayden Burries. I think one of the biggest improvements this year for Arizona over last year is not only the physicality, but the athleticism. I think this team is drastically more athletic than last year's team, which I don't think last year's team was like unathletic by any means. But I think the players, the personnel changes that you made in the offseason have increased the athleticism in addition to the physicality on this year's team. Do you see it the same way at all?
Sorry to cut you off. I didn't know if you were going to keep going with that point or not. I think that the athleticism is about the same in a way. And like obviously we've talked about the Koa-Pete, Trey Townsend to Koa-Pete. I mean, is there a bigger athletic advantage or change at a position in college basketball this season? Probably not. Here's another thing though, Kevin. Mo Krivas instead of Henry Vasar. That's a severe drop in athleticism. Like, and I'm sorry if you guys don't want to hear it. Mo Krivas might be a good player, but in terms of running the floor, blocking shots, getting vertical, catching lobs, I mean, we had the most athletic big man maybe in the entire country on our team, and we lost him. So you lose athleticism in that regard. So where you're maybe gaining some, you're also losing some, right? So I just think that like Anthony Del Orso could be potentially the starter. I know Karchenkov is extremely athletic. Aristotle is obviously a freak. I think Brayden Burries is definitely more athletic than Caleb Love is if we were comparing them like for like. So I think maybe there's like a slight edge to the team in athleticism. You lose KJ Lewis, who maybe is the most athletic player on the entire team last season. Him and Vasar probably being the two, in my opinion, if I had to like truly go bounce for bounce.
Yeah.
So
Love was pretty bouncy though.
Not as bouncy as Jaden Bradley, in my opinion.
You think?
I think Love's fourth on that list.
I think Love is bouncier than JB. I do. Especially in game, I think he's bouncier than JB.
I don't. I think JB is much quicker to the basket. I think his dunks are looking almost exactly the same, but he plays a smaller position. But I also wanted to say to Sam Alberts' point about Jaden Bradley being maybe the best player on this team. Listen, this podcast was saying it all year last year. All season long last year, we called Jaden Bradley the best player on this team. I think if Arizona wants to be where they want to be, though, this season, Jaden Bradley, while he is absolutely the staple of the team, the captain, the leader, the mainstay, the guy who you can count on every single night to show up and show out, I do think that the best version of this team is Brayden Burries and Koa-Pete being the best players on this team.
I agree with that. I think, I don't know. I don't really know if there's a better way to cut it, right? Like, the best version of your team would be your two blue chip prospects being everything you wanted and more and going and being lottery picks. And I think that is the right way to see it. I think that in terms of reliability, I don't know if there's anyone more reliable than Jaden Bradley, right? No. I think for a lot of reasons, and this is not a diss to JB at all, but I think for a lot of reasons we viewed him as the best player on last year's team because Caleb Love was so unreliable that you could not give him that nod that you probably felt that he should have been given. And Jaden Bradley was just doing the same thing, being consistent and reliable every single night. And for that reason, he was the best player on last year's team.
Yep.
But I think if Jaden Bradley is your best player, I think that you're not maximizing this year's roster. And again, that's no slight to Jaden Bradley. He is going to be one of the best guards in all of America this upcoming year. But if you're going to maximize the talent on this roster, it's got to be loud with Brayden Burries. It's got to be loud with Aristotle. It's got to be loud with Pete. And I think it even has to be kind of loud with Karchenkov in a lot of ways as well. Like, I think if Karchenkov is the one coming off the bench, right? I mean, obviously you have two wings coming off the bench in that sense. But if Karchenkov's kind of like that third guy between Aristotle and ADO and himself, I think that he has to show, like, nationally the narrative with him has to be, who's this Ivan Karchenkov guy that Arizona has coming off the bench? He could be starting for all these teams. Yeah. I think that's the way you maximize it, right? So if Jaden Bradley's our best player, it probably means some other players are underwhelming, and that's not Jaden Bradley's fault. But I think you have the caliber of players on this team where that should not be a question.
Yeah, I that's where I'm at with it. Like, I think that the guy's going to average what he averaged last year, which is like 12 points per game. And
he's probably going to be more efficient.
And he's going to do it every single night, and he's probably going to add a little bit of three-pointer to his game. And he's obviously an insane defender. We all know that. Like, he's maybe the best point guard defender in the entire country. So, yeah, I mean, he's certainly like – this is, again, no disrespect to Jaden Bradley. I just think that his ceiling as a player is like, yeah, you're right. It would almost be indicative of a similar season to last year, which is really rough non-conference, in my opinion, where, you know, your freshman stars struggle, having to kind of take the load of the scoring over. And Jaden Bradley is like the only guy who's showing up like he did in basically every tough game Arizona's played throughout the last 2 seasons, really. Even when he was coming off the bench, against Clemson, he's like the only dude who's keeping Arizona in the basketball game, hitting 3-pointers in the tournament consistently. Like he's a gamer and he shows up in big moments. But I do think that me and you, Kevin, are on the same page in terms of like he needs to be the most consistent player on the team for this team to get where they want to go. But I don't think he needs to be the best player. And so, yeah, but it's really interesting because I think that just goes to show how special this Arizona team could be. And as Harvey Manfred Jensen says, like, is this team going to be better than last year's? I think 100%, because
it has to be.
The only thing that would make it worse would be, like I said, having a similar non-conference like I just displayed. I think Arizona's non-conference is maybe slightly more difficult in terms of schedule this year. Last year's was tough. I think this year's is insane. But I also wouldn't expect Arizona to lose to like essentially every solid non-conference team that they played like they did last year, losing to Oklahoma, losing to West Virginia, losing to just games you just had no business losing.
I mean, look, you laid it out very well right there, but I'm just going to say it even more simply. Like, to answer Harvey Manfred Jensen's question, right? Like,
he's number one.
Well, this team had better be number one, right? You know what I mean? Because, like, look, in terms of will this year's team be better than last year's? Obviously, we can't tell the future. But in terms of on paper and preseason, there is absolutely no reason as to why this team should not be better than last year's team. Because Tommy Lloyd, and I've been saying this all offseason, and I will be, as much as I can, I will stay tough to this take the whole year. If you're Tommy Lloyd, I think this is the first year to where, as a fan myself, not only of Arizona basketball, but also of Tommy Lloyd, this is the first year where you absolutely have to come through on expectations. Because if you don't, to me, I'm thinking like, all right, he had all these tools. What more tools do you need to have this kind of a Final Four run, or, a really sweet, memorable run for Arizona fans? What more tools do you need? You got pretty much 2 top 10 freshmen. You're returning your veteran point guard. You have a couple of bigs that are returning. You have the best rebounder in America in Tobe Awaka. You have a shooter exclusively in ADO who has improved his physicality over last season when he was on the team. You have a deeper bench with Karchenkov, Aristode, name whoever you want on the bench. You have options there, which you didn't have last year, right? So I think this team has to be better than last year's team. And I think if we're at the end of the year talking about how, man, that 2024 team they edge out this 2025 team, something has gone critically wrong, right? Something has gone drastically wrong, and they have disappointed us yet again.
Yeah.
Because I think that this roster, and I'll say it one more time to wrap up my point, has every tool that Tommy Lloyd needs at his disposal. You have veteran guard play, you have athleticism, you have young blue chip prospects, you have shooters, you have physicality, you have rim pressure, you have bigs, right? So I don't know what else Tommy Lloyd would need to fulfill his menu of a roster that he wants, right? This feels like the year that Tommy Lloyd fulfills Arizona fans' expectations. And if it's not, this is the first time where I'm like, yes, we need to criticize Tommy Lloyd for the way this season ended, because this roster is too good to not fulfill expectations. And I'm not saying he has to go win a national championship to fulfill expectations, but this team has to look good the entirety of the year, and you have to make it past the Sweet 16. And at least if you lose in the Elite Eight, it had better be to a very high caliber team. No disappointing March Madness losses. I'll even say no disappointing non-con losses, which might be impossible considering the roster you have, or the schedule you have. So, yeah, to answer your question in the long way, Harvey, even though I said I was going to do it short, it has to be the better team than last year.
Yeah, it does. And I agree with you. You have to make it past the Sweet 16, because while 3 Sweet 16s in your first 4 seasons as a head coach is nothing to turn your nose up at, it's also not Arizona standard in terms of what we expect with our really, really good teams. Like when you have Ben Mathurin and Azuolas Tubelis and Dalen Terry and you're the number 2 team in the land, you can't be losing in the Sweet 16. Just even if it's to an insane Houston team, the most underseeded team in the history of college basketball, you still can't have that happen. So yeah, it's an interesting topic of discussion, Kevin. We're going to be monitoring this basketball team, obviously, all season long. And, of course, we talk about how good this roster could be. The roster on next year's team could somehow be even better. And Kevin and I are going to break down the recruitment of 5-star wing Caleb Holt, who recently took a visit to Arizona over, I believe, the last week, and then canceled his visit with hometown Auburn right afterwards. Exactly right, Kevin. What could this mean? We're going to be doing a trending podcast later this week, so be on the lookout for that guy, where we're going to update you on the recruitment of Caleb Holt and just kind of all things 2026 Arizona basketball recruiting. But Kevin, we do have to talk some football today on the show because it's a Victory Monday. The Cats got it done against, albeit one of the worst football teams I've ever witnessed in my entire life. And now they got one for essentially all the marbles on Saturday at home in front of the fans, hopefully in front of the fans, and hopefully not in front of the BYU fans. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But let's preview Arizona versus BYU, and let's talk about our power rankings after Week 5 in the Big 12, all that and more on the other side of this break. Do not go anywhere.
You know what I miss most about not being able to do this podcast while you're at a wedding, an unplugged ceremony at all that? I miss talking about our guys over at Zen Leaf, our friends over at Zen Leaf Dispensaries, where you can become the proud owner of one of these beautiful tote bags. I mean, that is class.
Kevin, friends might have been underselling it.
Family? Immortal admirers? I don't know. But Zen Leaf is great weed, great service every time, and great tote bags every time as well. I mean, look at this thing. You might be like, Kevin, what is inside your tote bag? Well, I've been using what's inside my tote bag, so it's empty. But you can go to Zen Leaf and load up on all your favorite flower, vapes, edibles, and more with all the brands that you trust, in whether it's Chandler, Gilbert, North Phoenix, and more. It's easy to swing by before kickoff, tip-off, or first pitch if you're a playoff baseball viewer, which in the Valley, not many this year. Don't forget, by the way, for a limited time only, that code at the bottom of your screen, ZENPHNX, ZENPHNX, gets you 50% off when you head to Zen Leaf and load up one of these big old tote bags full of all your favorite flower and marijuana products. Zen Leaf, great weed, great service every single time.
Love our friends at Zen Leaf, and thank them so much for hooking us up and just being family. Like I said, truly, it's all about family over here at PHNX Sports, Dom Toretto style. And it would be family if it wasn't for these bad boys right here, Circle K. You guys see it. You know the logo. It's iconic, and it is a staple of this great state. If you guys are Arizona residents, you know that you could probably walk outside of your work, your home, wherever you're at right now, grab a rock, closest rock, throw it as far as you can, and you're going to hit probably a Circle K, because that's how many Circle Ks they have here in this state. And if you are not a member of the Inner Circle Rewards program, you're just leaving money on the table, frankly, because it is so easy to sign up, Kevin. You download a free app, you put in an email, and you choose a password. And then the savings are right in front of you. 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, 3 cents off per gallon every time you fill up after that until you reach premium status like me and Kevin. And you get 5 cents off per gallon every time you fill up. You just plug in your phone number at the pump and your savings are right there in front of your face. That's not going to be where the deals stop, though, guys. It's not just all gas savings. It is also meal deals, snack deals, drink deals. You know, America's Thirst Stop has all the drink deals. We love our friends at Circle K. They're always hooking us up. And of course, you know that they are reliable when in every sense of the word, Kevin. Like whenever you get the gas light comes on, you're just a little bit hungry. Maybe you need a caffeine pick me up. You know, Circle K's got your back. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
And I feel like we got to start this Arizona BYU conversation, Damon. There's only one place to start it. The attendance, the fans. Because I know Saturday, even though I was not watching all the game because I was, preoccupied, I did see the conversation going around about the attendance and the numbers and the announce the numbers and the actual people that were in the stands and left maybe a little early, whatever the equation was. There were not enough fans in the stadium versus Oklahoma State. People were asking me on Twitter whether I think it's going to be similar or different for this BYU matchup, and I incorrectly stated that I think Arizona should be the more prevalent fan base in this one. But either way, Damon, this game has to be a sellout. You have to pack it for this one. It's family weekend. You're playing one of the best teams in the Big 12. One loss so far. What else do you want to show up to a game, right? Like, I don't know what else you need to sell out a stadium like Arizona Stadium right now, Damon. Absolutely have to sell this one out, in my opinion. And I know that you gave some takes on the postgame show about the attendance. I know that, this is a big topic of contingency right now. But you agree with me, right? This has to be a sellout. And you have to outnumber the BYU fans. You can't let them take over your trap.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned about BYU fans outnumbering us per se. What I'm concerned about is BYU fans having more to cheer about and having
Yeah.
a good enough percentage there that it sounds like that they took over our stadium. Like, I think there's a solid chance that we're looking at about 30%, 35% BYU fans in the crowd on Saturday. And so I think Arizona will still have the advantage, but I also think that on average, a casual BYU fan is more locked in and cares more about their team than a casual Arizona fan. Plus, you got to factor in that these people are traveling to the game, many of them from Arizona, because, there's a huge Mormon community here in Arizona, especially in the East Valley here in Phoenix. And I'm sure a lot of them will be just making the trek down the I-10 to see the game. But these are still people that are passionate enough where they're traveling for their team, so they very much care, versus maybe some people in Tucson who are just looking for something to do on a Saturday night, of which I wish that there were more people that did that. But so I don't know what to expect. I think I'm not like gonna say like you, like it's sellout or bust, because I said with Cohen on the show, like it probably will be close to it, and that's good enough for me. It's gonna be like the most packed game probably of the season for Arizona, factoring in it's against a ranked team. You're coming off a win. It's at night. They're a fan base that is rabid and has a contingency here and cares a lot. So I expect it to be packed. Sellout, I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's do or die. I'm not that that's necessarily your take, but yeah, it's gonna be a big topic of contention on Saturday because of how loud and when I say loud, I guess I should really say quiet. The stadium on Saturday was, like, how the lack of fans being so loud on the social media streets. But yeah, man, I mean, what were your thoughts on the whole lack of crowd in general, Kevin? Because I very much sung my tune on our Saturday postgame show, and if you guys missed it, my Damon's Doghouse of the week, of course, of which I put someone in a box every week and just go after them. This week it was the lack of fans at the game. And I guess the Arizona fan base in general, if you're truly going at it in that sense. But the people that were at the game, I very much want to make clear, Kevin, like, thank you guys so much. You guys are the true fans. You guys killed it. And you deserve all the credit in the world. But man, that was a pretty lackluster crowd on Saturday, Kevin, and disheartening for a team that has been better than expectations so far this season, despite the loss to Iowa State the week before.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at, right? Like 4-1 with an opportunity to really make a statement against BYU at home. This has to be a situation where, like you said, it's at least a near sellout for Arizona Stadium. And Nick in the chat says Arizona fans need a reason, whether it's right or wrong, they need a good team to support. And I get that. I understand that. They're like, you're not just going to fork up your hard-earned dollars, which, especially in this economy, are quite hard to come by, like just to go watch a bad football team. Mm. But when your team is 4-1, even if you think they might be frauds, you're still 4-1. You are what your record says you are. And right now, Arizona is a winning football team right now, right? This is a team that is 2 wins away from bowl eligibility 5 games into the season, right? Which I don't necessarily think a lot of Arizona fans would have had them in that same spot preseason, right? I think that it's a chicken or the egg with the fans versus the good team thing, right? Because players want to play on a big stage. They want to play where people are going to watch them play football games. Fans want players that are good on their team, but you can't get that. Like, it's one hand washes the other, right? You got to show up. You have to support the squad, even if they're not good, right? And I get it reaches a point there where they're so bad, right, where you just can't support that. And that's a statement unto itself. That's a conversation unto itself. But that's not what's happening right now. This team is 4-1. They're making improvements over last season. You got to validate their efforts by supporting them. And I think, as a fan, I know that Oklahoma State sucks, but you know they suck. You know you're going to get a W. You know you're going to get some fun plays out of Noah Fifita in this game. Like, I'm super inclined to go to a game where it's a blowout. Maybe I do leave early or whatnot, but I'm at least going to go to watch some fun plays. Maybe when Locke gets put in the game, maybe I unlock my car and I get the hell out of there. But, right, as long as Fifita's on that field, your butt should be in a seat. I don't know. Like, you had the opportunity to watch one of the utmost crucial, foundational quarterbacks in your program's history. The guy is on pace to break Khalil Tate's all-time passing touchdowns record this season.
He's on pace to be the all-time leading touchdown passer in Arizona history.
Correct. That's what I'm getting at. And I think, like, when you have a guy like that, regardless of the outcome of these games, unless they're just absolutely embarrassing, which you're 4-1, they haven't been, you got to show up. You got to show love. You have like not that many opportunities to watch a Noah Fifita game, and you need to take them. The same reason you got to watch Alex Pereira when he fights, count it, because there's not going to be that many times where he does it, right? So you need to watch these teams. And I'm not trying to make this like a, coming at Nick, because Nick's loyal to our chat and stuff like that, and it's a valid statement. But I think this year, it's not that. I think this year, the fans have to do their part because Arizona's doing their part, right?
I think Max is right in what he says in terms of like, it probably just takes a little bit of sustained like decency, I guess, for lack of a better term. Because I don't want to say success, because I don't even know if I'd necessarily call what's happening this season like true success yet. I think we're so far off of, putting a moniker like that on, or a label like that on an entire season. But this team is solid, and they're not embarrassing. They're a team that you can root for as an Arizona fan and have pride in. And I think that this defense in particular is that, right? Like this defense, they deserve you to show up, because these guys haven't quit all season. And even in the Iowa State game, it wasn't their fault. It was special teams' fault. It was the offense's fault. And it was being on the football field all game long. But the defense was still pretty decent in that game, in my opinion. Yeah. And they really, truly haven't had a bad game this year. So I don't know, man. I mean, I think we're going to see close to a sellout on Saturday. There's a lot of things that go into the reason that the fan support was what it was on the weekend, right? It was the noon game, the heat, coming off of a blowout loss. You're playing a putrid team in Oklahoma State that everybody knows you're going to beat. Like, you can make a laundry list of excuses, Kevin. Yeah. Or you could just show up to the games and cheer for your team. And I just, it's one of those things where it's like, it's honestly like an awkward spot for me and you to be in, because I'm obviously here in Phoenix, and like I'm calling out the fans that are in Tucson on the show and being like, we got to be better than this. Listen, like growing up, I'm season ticket holder for football. My parents have been for 30 plus years. I have been for, my entire life. Like, I was at every game that I could go to, staying from start to finish until the game ended, no matter what the score was. And I'm not to say that like I'm the model or anything, but like I do feel like I can talk a little bit from this seat, because I was experiencing throughout my entire life unsuccessful football teams, 4-win seasons, and I'm still going to every game and showing out. And it sucks when you have fans that like don't feel the same way as the people that are truly, truly passionate about this program, because it is that chicken or the egg thing that I've brought up before, that Brendan talks about when he came on our show. It's like you need that fan support to be successful in college football in 2025. Fact. The money is what it is at that point, where you need fan support. And so I just hope that it's better the rest of the season, really. And you, like, even after the game, like there was they gave Luke Wysong the phone and had him film like fired up right post game type of reaction video. And his first thing was, we got to pack the house on Saturday for BYU. You think that's a coincidence, or do you think that Luke Wysong scores his touchdown, looks up at the crowd and sees that there's 10,000 people there and that no one's celebrating it with him? Yeah. Because I think that's purposeful, and they hand him a phone. They're like, tell people to go to the game on Saturday. And that sucks, man, because this team is decent. And like, if they win, they have an opportunity to even be like ranked potentially on the next iteration of the AP poll. So yeah, we just got to be better as Arizona fans, because you see what happens for an inter-squad exhibition scrimmage for a basketball game, Kevin. People can show up, people can be passionate, but when it comes to one of the 6 football games we get over the course of, or 7, I guess, this year, over the course of a year, crickets.
Look, and I think about the Luke Wysong thing, my biggest takeaway from what you brought up there is not that he did the video at all, because I'm pretty sure they do that after every game. Like, they give it to a player and just say, like, record a quick little post-game thing. But I think the takeaway there is that he brought up the attendance at all, right? You have a player who scored in the game, is playing in the game, and what's his post-game reaction? We didn't have enough people. We got to bring them out on next Saturday. It's not like, oh, this was a fun game. The environment was cool. We won the game. I got a touchdown. It was, where were y'all at? Yeah. That was his first initial reaction. I think that's the biggest takeaway, right? Because you can't, like, it's like I started out with, right? Players want to play on a stage that makes their talent feel worthy, feel important. You heard Koa Pete say it out of his damn mouth at Team USA trials in the summer, right? What's the reason why you went to Arizona? Well, obviously, you know, in-state, but also they give me that stage that I really want to compete on and prove my skill set on. You think Luke Weissong is transferring from New Mexico to play for Arizona to not get more eyes on his game?
Yeah.
He wants eyes on his game, especially when he scores, right? So I think that, to your point, Damon, the attendance likely will be better against BYU, has to be better the rest of the year, and you just absolutely need that diehard fan support that right now, like, you're just not seeing with a team that I think really needs it. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on the attendance of it all.
It's like Lost Highway says about the heat. The sun intolerance in Arizona is kind of a weird thing. Like, we're all kind of used to it, are we not, at this point?
And we all just got through the hottest time of the year.
I know it was hot, and the sun's beating on you. And I've been in that stadium before in October. We talked about it with Justin Spears in 2016. Khalil Tate's first start was a noon kickoff game, family weekend. No one was at the game because it was hot as hell. And I remember how hot it was, and I was sunburnt after the game. But that being said, there were I still showed up to the game, and it's like, I'm from Arizona. Like, I'll get over it. I'll put some sunscreen on. Is it that bad? I heard that the shaded areas at the stadium were pretty packed. Like in terms of, like, you know, outside of the stands, like people hanging out watching the games. And so I'm sure it was the numbers were better than what it looked like in the seats, but it's still just not good enough. Like, imagine, I had someone said it in the comments too of our post game, Kevin. Imagine, like, you're at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it's Tennessee Tech in the first game of the season, August 30th, and it's 87 degrees with 95% humidity, and 100,000 people are in the stands, color coordinated in their seats. And you're like, that's in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Look how many people they got versus Tucson. Like, we can be better than this. And I don't think that it's, like, disrespectful to the fan base to, like, say we need to be better than this.
It's not.
And because what I said to Saul was, this fan base is elite in all the other sports that are important. And that's not to say other sports are important, not important, but basketball, women's basketball, softball, baseball, elite fan bases across the board. Some of the best in the entire country. And then you get to the most important sport for your entire athletic department to be successful. You need fans to show up for football so that money trickles down to everybody else and no one shows up. And you're like, damn, bro, come on.
Yeah. No, you have one of the best quarterbacks in your program's history, and you're hoping to go to a bowl game this year. You're 4/6 of the way there, and 2/3, I guess, of the way there. And it just feels like you just can't get people to come out to games, even though it's a little bit warm outside. And I don't understand that either, Damon. But we do have a lot more to talk about on this podcast. We're not here to take up your entire day. So we're going to hit our next ad break. Leave a like, drink some water. We'll be right back. And on the other side of that break, we are going to talk more football. But for right now, I got to tell y'all, if you're not going to these Arizona games, and no disrespect, but if it's on account of not having enough money in your pocket, let me help you out. Let me help you out. Actually, scratch that. Let me get Monarch Money to help you out, because they're like your personal CFO, y'all. Monarch Money helps me manage my income and expenses and helps me set, smash, and crush goals, right? Because having a personal CFO really has you live in that lavish lifestyle. Every time you get paid, it tracks it. Every time you have a new subscription, it tracks it. Every time you have a new expense that is regular, it tracks it and notifies you. Monarch Money has all these great tools for you. And on top of that, if you're busy, why aren't you not using Monarch Money? It does all the heavy lifting. You can link all your accounts in just minutes and get clear data, visuals, smart categorization on your spending, and real control over your money. And like I said earlier, nowadays you need real control over your finances. So don't let this opportunity slip through your fingertips like sand on the beach. Use code PHNX at monarchmoney.com for half off your first 12 months. That's 50% off your first year of money saving tools, money management tools with our friends over at monarchmoney.com using promo code PHNX. Check out our friends at monarchmoney.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Monarch Money, helping people save money. And if you want to maybe win some money, there's only one place to do it. It's Gila River Resorts and Casinos. It is my favorite casino branch in the entire country. This is not just an Arizona thing, Kevin. It's better than Vegas. You don't got to make the drive to Vegas. You don't got to deal with the Vegas smells, the Vegas people. You just show up in your great state of Arizona, right in your backyard, one of the 4 locations that Gila River Resorts and Casinos has. I'm a Wild Horse Pass man. Kevin, you're out there by Beekiba. There's Lone Butte and Santan Mountain as well, of course. But they got something for everybody. Whether it's, a concert that you're trying to go to, maybe hit up the pool area, maybe just you want to gamble. You know that Gila River Resorts and Casinos, they have it all, just like the casinos that you would find anywhere else in the country, but except it's right in your backyard. It's cleaner, it's better, it's cheaper, and it is the only option for you. Playathila.com, visit that website. Check out maybe some of book a room, hang out, have a good time. Just really you do you, Kevin. That's all it comes down to, because that's the Gila River Resorts and Casinos slogan that they go with. And it truly, in every sense of the word, fits their company, because there are so many options to do something for everybody, even the kids, if you want to bring them out. You can hang out with them and have a good time at the pool area. It's so much fun. Gila River Resorts and Casinos, hit it up today, and you will not regret it.
One thing I might regret is making my power rankings this week, because I had yet to finish them and I already regretted them, Damon. When you miss time, when you miss crucial football moments, when you miss snaps, it's never good. It's never good. Damon had to do some catch up this weekend on the games that went down. I think we should probably start there. Can you tell me, in your words, the biggest moments I missed this past weekend from the Big 12 football scene? Like, what were some of your big takeaways from Big 12 slate this weekend? Because like I said earlier, was at an unplugged ceremony during college football season, which should probably be a crime.
Yes.
In any state that has a major football team.
Yes.
I'm not saying Arizona's a major football team, but they're in the Big 12. You know what I mean? So what are we doing? Unplugged ceremony on a Saturday. I really don't give a damn about the NFL. If we wanted to do an unplugged ceremony on a Sunday, sign me up. You know what I mean? I'll be ready for Sunday Night Football at the party, and we're good to go. But Saturday, what are we doing? So what did I miss, Damon?
Essentially, Kevin, on Friday, I know you're out of commission on Friday as well. BYU, who we have on the weekend, beat West Virginia 38-24, so by 2 touchdowns. Got off to an early 14-0 lead and then tied the entire rest of the final 3 quarters. So not a good West Virginia team. BYU was at home in that game. Not to say that BYU isn't very good, but I think it just goes to show that if Arizona plays their best game of the season, which they're going to have to, this game is in fact winnable for the Cats. Bear Bachmeier had 350 yards though, Kevin. So he's starting to look a little bit better and better, I think, and they're trusting him more. So Arizona obviously gets the job done versus Oklahoma State. Texas Tech, Mom's Meatloaf back in under center. They take it to Houston, but we're going to talk about that in a second here, because I think that Mom's Meatloaf being back in is bad news for the Red Raiders. Cincinnati is here. They've arrived. They're the best, apparently. They beat Iowa State, a hobbled Iowa State, by 8 points. Here's what I'll say. And I know we're going to get into this, Kevin, and I know that your power rankings have it a certain way. But Iowa State's down half their defensive starters. They go down 17-0 on the road in the first quarter, and they still lose by 1 possession. They are a better football team than Cincinnati. That's a fact. I'm sorry if that ruffles any Cincinnati fan feathers. And I've been very low on Cincinnati. You can go back to every iteration of power rankings we've ever done on this show, and you will find a way to get angry with me, because I have very much disrespected Cincinnati. Hand up.
We both did.
Yeah.
But put him in a box.
Me particularly. I said Baron Morton was trash after the Bowling Green and Nebraska games. And he's pretty good. But I still don't think that Iowa State is a worse team than Cincinnati, and that will reflect in my power rankings. Baylor barely beats Kansas State. Kansas State loses the fourth quarter 18-3, and as Sam says, K-State gets screwed. Here's my question though, Kevin. And I know we talk a lot about how the transitive property doesn't work like this in college football, but say Team A beat the Baylor Bears on a last-second field goal, right? Yeah. And then Team B beat Kansas State handily and almost got them back in the game, but very easily was the better team in that football game.
Okay.
Then Kansas State plays Baylor, and they should win the game. But the fans of Team A said that Kansas State was the worst team that's ever existed in the history of college football, and that the Baylor Bears were a Big 12 title contender. How does that work, Kevin? I thought K-State was despicable. I thought that they were the 16th team in the Big 12. I thought that they didn't even know how to get a first down. Turns out they're not a bad team, and that Arizona's win versus them was actually a pretty good win.
I mean, look, I was trying to do the math as you were doing it over there, and it doesn't really make sense from that fan's perspective. I don't know by chance whose fan base you're talking about, but
no idea.
They're not making a lot of sense if that's their argument.
Beating Baylor on a last-second field goal, good. Winning the entire game versus Baylor and losing by 1 point, worst team that's ever existed on a football field.
Yeah.
It's funny, the ASU fans and their constant mental gymnastics trying to diminish our decency this season. It's like, dude, Kansas State is not that bad.
No,
they're not. Stop trying to treat them like they're Oklahoma State, because we saw what Oklahoma State looks like, and that is worlds different of a football team. Kansas State would be Oklahoma State by 40.
Man, I've been saying it all season, Damon. You have been hearing it right here on this podcast when the words have flown out of my mouth every single time. K-State is a talented football team, right? They have had a bad season, but it's not necessarily just a walkover opponent. That's still a very talented squad.
If they would be 3-3 right now if they won that game, Kevin.
Wow. That's kind of crazy to think about. When you think of K-State, you think like 0-16 already. Like they've lost every game.
Well, that's what ASU fans have told us. I'm being dead serious.
I know. No, I know. But look, man, K-State.
Dude, that's exactly, Max, you got it on the money. You found out exactly what I'm talking about. K-State 16 over Oklahoma State? That was solely because U of A beat Kansas State, by the way. Oh, they must be the worst team ever. What? Yeah. They're watch them play football. But yeah.
I'm with you on that, Damon. Thank you for the recap there as well.
I just thought that was funny. Kansas beats UCF on the road too, and then TCU has a comeback victory against Colorado. Those were the final two games to close out. Colorado, I'm pretty sure, Kevin, is just going to do this thing all season long where they just like are in all the games and then they lose at the end of it. I hope that happens against us.
I hope they're not in it against us.
Yeah, that would be that. I hope, and Kevin, I will be attending this game. I have marked my calendar. I will be in Colorado for Colorado versus Arizona in Boulder. I will be traveling to the game. I'll be doing hopefully our podcast on the field at the end of the game. Hopefully, that's what I'm in my heart of hearts. That's what I'm hoping for. But I will say it would feel pretty good, Kevin, to maybe in the press box take my belt off, RK style, like they did 100 feet from me in our own stadium last year, because I watched it with my own two eyes and start going belt to ass in your stadium. I'm gonna be in the press box doing that shit, Kevin.
I love it. No, that's going to be absolutely incredible. The scenes are going to be immaculate.
BTA.
I need a GIF of that immediately once you have the belt in hand and Arizona's up 45 points in Folsom, wherever the hell it is. And I'm all about that. Hopefully that is the case. Obviously, Colorado's defense is not bad, but hopefully Arizona gets that job done in disgusting fashion. And we can put some BTA. You know what I mean?
Yeah, need it. Absolutely need it. Inject it into my veins. But, Kevin, let's inject these power rankings into our veins. And I'll let you start, my guy. What's your bottom four in the conference?
We can go through these pretty quick. I'm pretty sure our bottom half are pretty similar.
I think it's exact same, no?
I think so, minus the arrows. Oklahoma State, bad. West Virginia, not good. UCF, what are we talking about? Colorado, 10-2. Just kidding. And this is Damon's bottom four. Oh wait, it's the exact same. These are the worst four teams in the conference. These are the worst four teams in the conference, man. Like that's just what it is. And I think
dude, they have 4 losses already on this season.
They do, because
in 6 games.
0-3 in conference, yeah.
Man.
Yeah, how life comes at you fast. Life comes at you fast.
I, for one, am shocked that Colorado is not better without Shedeur Sanders and the Heisman. Personally, I thought they were going to be better this season.
Especially when you come into the year with 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, dude.
You only had 1 quarterback last year, and you had the Heisman. Now you have 3 quarterbacks.
That's a good point.
And no Heisman. What's the math there? Clearly 0-3 for the Big 12's best team.
0-3.
0-3 for the best team.
But yeah, that's you basically said it all. West Virginia keeps losing. They have 1 good win this year against Pitt, rivalry game. Don't put too much stock into it. UCF, they look like maybe they're not like a walk in the park type of team. You know what I mean? Like you have to go in and beat UCF. You know, they're not horrific. but they're not good. Oklahoma State is like, you're at the point where it's like, do we forfeit every game the rest of the season?
Relegate them to the Mountain West.
Because this is really, really bad what we're watching unfold on the football field. And what was the Colorado last one? Whatever. I think Colorado's fine. Colorado could very well beat Arizona, especially at home. But yeah, it's they definitely so far 0-3. Excuse me.
They stink.
Deserve to be in the spot that they're in. Moving forward, Kevin.
So this is actually yours that I pulled up on this one. So your 12 through 9 is as follows, Damon.
Kansas at 9. They move up after they beat UCF this week. Arizona at 10, kind of neck and neck with Kansas there. I think very similar caliber teams. Arizona beats a terrible Oklahoma State team, whatever. I don't really care about that game. Houston, they move down because they lose, Kevin. So we're moving Houston down. I still think that this like kind of bottom 4 right here is very tight. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Houston beats Arizona, if Kansas beats Arizona. Kansas State could have beat Arizona. But I do think that all these teams are very similar caliber. And for that reason, I'm moving Houston a little bit down for their L to Texas Tech, getting dominated. And then the two teams that won get to bump a little bit up.
I'm with you, Damon. Mine looks pretty damn similar. K-State at 12, Houston at 11. They stay right there. Everybody's staying. Everybody stay put. Don't move a muscle on my power rankings. Arizona comes in at 9, Kansas at 10. Moving on, though, to the top half, Damon. And this is this. Let me preface this by saying the next team on my rankings, I probably spent an hour and a half waffling on how to place them on my rankings because I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I probably shouldn't say this on the pod, but I kind of hate my rankings this week. Damon knows it. I know it. Now you know it, and we can all be in a safe space together. But this is my 8 through 5, and sorry to the Utes. I'm sorry to the Utes. I'm genuinely sorry to the Utes. But they had a bye week. And also, Cincinnati has been awesome. So they get into that top 5 because they have earned being in that top 5 with their recent level of play. And BYU kind of gets screwed over by the bye week here. Baylor, they win a game. I don't want to move them down because they won a game. So yeah, Utah, they get screwed here. Call me a big dummy. I'll accept it this week. I won't fight back. Iowa State comes in at 6 because they might stink. And we're just kidding. But they are a very much high hospital bill team right now. And that is why they are where they are. But yeah.
Kevin, you big dummy. Yeah, I disagree on where you have Utah, but I also don't think it's that egregious because the Big 12 is an absolutely crazy conference when it comes to the parity. So let's bring up my 4 here. I have Utah in the top 4 to your 8. So pretty big discrepancy there. I got Cincinnati at 8 still. Maybe it's unfair. I'm looking at it now. I kind of think they should be above Baylor. So maybe I would have made that amendment looking back on it, but
the 8 spot is cursed on our
You know
rankings.
what, dude? I'm just gonna ride this out all season long. Cincinnati's gonna win the Big 12 championship, and I'm gonna be like, they suck. They suck. Baron Morton sucks. Cincinnati will never be good at football. You guys are terrible. Arizona would beat you, and it doesn't matter how many games you win.
Brayden Sorsby as well. Brayden Sorsby.
Yeah.
I was letting it fly. But yeah, no, I mean, look. Cincinnati, we said it earlier, Damon. The man, the myth, the mid is kind of where we had Cincinnati at this year for the entirety of the year. Because I think I said it at one point on one of our power rankings. Like, you can look at all the rest of the power rankings. You're probably going to see Cincinnati at 11 for the rest of the season because that's just where they're at. They're in that mid tier. And they still might be in that mid tier, right?
Well, that's where I have them.
But they look pretty good. Brendan Sorsby looks pretty good.
Yeah, so if we pull this up one more time here, Kevin, I have them above Arizona. I have them above Houston. I have them above Kansas. They beat Kansas, obviously, when I predicted otherwise. The one team that they've beaten that I don't have them above is Iowa State. And my reasoning, Kevin, is because they had about half their defensive starters out.
Yeah.
I think if Iowa State's healthy, they're playing on the road versus Cincinnati. They go down 17-0 in the game, and they still almost come back and make it go to overtime, only losing by 1 possession. They did have the ball at the end of the game, although they were at like midfield. They weren't going to score and get the 2-point conversion. But they made it a game. And I just think Iowa State, fully healthy, is a better team than Cincinnati. So I'm giving them that benefit of the doubt. Both teams have 1 loss right now. So hate me all you want, Cincinnati fans, but you guys suck, and you guys might go undefeated in Big 12 play, and you're still gonna suck. So it doesn't even matter how they play. Baylor is actually not very good. I think that's the team I was most wrong about, Kevin, and not for the reasons that I thought I was right about them. Like I was like, oh, Sawyer Robertson is cold, and he is cold. He 30 plus points in basically every game, and their offense is unbelievable, and then they just play dogfight games even against Oklahoma State's because their defense is so bad. Kevin, they gave up 27 to Oklahoma State. We watched Oklahoma State. They scored 13 against us, and one of them was a damn pick six.
Yeah, and I was about to say the pick six came in garbage time. It wasn't even really in like live action play.
No, they had 20 points at halftime, I'm pretty sure, against Baylor. Baylor's defense is just pathetic. They should have lost to Kansas State, and even though I'm, taking some shots and saying Kansas State's a lot better than people have been giving them credit for, despite their 2-4 record, they are still the 12th team in this conference in my power rankings. And Baylor beat them by one singular point, getting some help along the way. So Baylor's, in my opinion, not all that good. And I think Arizona at home, second to last game of the season, I almost think that we are going to win that game.
Listen to me. When you finished talking, I was going to say this. And now that you said that, I know you agree, so I'll double down. I'm taking Baylor off the scared list. I'm not worried about Baylor game anymore. I'm not worried about it. Arizona could lose that game. Don't get this misunderstood.
For sure.
What I am saying, I'm no longer worried about playing Baylor, right? This Danny Gonzalez defense has been awesome all year.
I might be more worried about playing Colorado just for the fact that it's on the road and going to be in a crazy environment.
And we're talking so crazy that's just how life works. We're
yeah, true. But I'm honestly a little bit more concerned about the Colorado aspect of things. Just being on the road, crazy environment. They're going to want that win so bad. They kind of hate us in a weird way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that game scares me more than Baylor does at this point because listen, dude, I just don't see a world where my defense is going to go out there and compete. You know what I mean? And Sawyer Robertson's going to put some points on the board, but this defense isn't going to get dog walked. Whereas I can see Noah Fifita in our offense dog walking their defense. It's so bad. So that's why I'm just feeling like I got some confidence in that Baylor game. But yeah, Baylor at 7 for me. And then what was my 6, Kevin? BYU, of course, our opponent this weekend. How could I forget? The Cougars are good, man. They're really good. Their defense is really good. Bear Bachmeier looks better and better every single game. And it's going to be a tough test for Arizona to win this one. I don't think BYU is truly elite. I think if they had Jake Retzlaff, they'd be truly elite. But I just think that they're a step below that. And they have all the pieces. And they're similar to an Iowa State in that they're not going to beat themselves. Arizona's going to have to go in and play its best game of the season on Saturday to get this W against BYU. And it's not like a perfect game, but you're going to have to play close to it. And so that's where I stand on the BYU side of things. But let's get into the top 4 here, starting with yours, Kevin.
My top 4 is as follows. BYU has had one of the craziest defenses, I feel like, all season. I feel like they deserve the 4 spot right now. TCU at 3, ASU at 2. Mom's Meatloaf and Texas Tech stays at number 1. We might have like an S tier if they had started Hammond, which I know you want to talk a little bit about because I get it. I do understand putting Morton back in there. That's like his spot that he earned and all that nonsense. But like when you saw it on the field, it looked a different way. Right?
He did have a good game in this game. I'll give him credit. He had like over 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. Like you can't really say anything about this game. But who'd they play? Yeah. You know, like I don't really care about them beating Houston like that, even if Houston is not bad. Will Hammond win it against Utah in a dogfight game, tie game.
On the road in a crazy environment. Winning time.
And cooked them.
Sure did.
And looked special doing so. So that's where I'm like, I just think that's a bad call, frankly. But we'll get into that here in a second. I do want to say, Sam, for the sake of this joke, I don't agree. But in general, like I said, I should put Cincy above Baylor. And Cincinnati on the road at a 9 a.m. kickoff, because that's what we're going to get. Speaking of, we'll talk about that in a second. Cincinnati on the road, 9 a.m. kickoff, like that's a loss. Whereas Baylor at home, late kickoff, I feel pretty good. I actually feel pretty good about that. That's kind of my reasoning here. So I agree with you in terms of how difficult those games are. But getting into my top 4.
We're actually going to get into your top 4 in overtime. Welcome to OT. We're doing Damon's power rankings in OT today. Damon, what do you have for your top 4?
My top 4, I got TCU, I think in the same place as you, right?
I had TCU in 3. I had BYU in 4.
TCU, they got down against Colorado. They come back. They win. Josh Hoover looks great. They obviously almost beat ASU on the road, which would have been maybe win of the season in the Big 12. I guess probably Texas Tech beating Utah at home was probably that as of now, but it's the only one that would come close to that, right? Like those would be neck and neck as the best wins of the season. TCU obviously barely doesn't get the job done, but they come back. They beat Colorado this week. They're a good team. Are they truly a contending team? Probably not. They're probably a step below that, right? But they're a very, very good football team, and one of the main reasons as to why is they might have the best quarterback in the conference in Josh Hoover. I think Sawyer Robertson and Josh Hoover are fairly neck and neck when you're having that conversation, Kevin. So. TCU is really good. I'm way higher on Utah apparently than Kevin is.
Yeah.
Technically. What do you mean? Yeah.
No,
Five spots different.
See, that's why I was in a blender all morning because I'm not low on Utah. They just didn't play, and other teams did. And bro, if I don't put Cincinnati in the top 5, then it's like, when am I going to put them in the top 5? When they go undefeated, they might not do that. So I got to reward them when they do. And BYU just was a victim, or not BYU.
Cincinnati's winning the national championship this season.
Brendan Sorsby, national champion.
Just right in my face.
What? But yeah, no, I'm not, like, you're right. No, you are right. You are way higher on the Utes in your power rankings than I am. But, like, I think we're about the same level. I actually might be more high on them on the field than you are. Which is, like, that's why I was in a blender this morning. Damon, do you understand where I was at with my blender in my brain or no?
I do. And, I think they are a difficult team to rank. And Houston is as well, as Ralph Amsden puts here in the chat. And we appreciate you for joining, Ralph. But I think when you say the continued respect for Iowa State, like, I think you're framing that as like I'm trying to give them respect because they beat U of A and then say that they're better than they are. Really what I'm doing is I'm giving them one game benefit of the doubt. They had a ton of injuries, and I'm saying, hey, guys, you've been really good this season. You had a disastrous game. I mean, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And it's like, if it happens again, I'm going to drop you really far. But as of now, I'm going to give you one more benefit of the doubt here because I did have them at 3 going into the week. But I'm also way higher on Utah to get back to that conversation, Kevin, because I just think that like this is if Utah beats ASU, where are you going to have them in your ranking? Because currently they are pretty hefty favorites, Kevin.
If Utah beats ASU,
yes,
in my rankings, that probably moves them. Maybe like 5. Maybe they go back into the top 5.
Maybe?
No, I'm saying like, I don't know. Like, I'm saying maybe the 5 spot of the top 5. Like, I'm not saying like maybe in the top 5. Definitely in the top 5. But like where in the top 5? That's kind of like what I'm thinking right now live in real time. I don't know. But top 5 for certain. Like, it's a huge win. They might even get back to their 3 spot for me. They might just take their spot back. You know what I mean?
They opened at least as a 5.5 point favorite against ASU, Kevin. So Vegas is trying to tell you that they have the by far the upper leg in this game, I would say. And
I think I probably throw them back at that 3 spot where I had them last week.
I don't know. This conference is so difficult. It's really brutal. Is. And there's really like no wrong answers, but I just think Utah's defense is really good. Their one loss is to Texas Tech, of which the score looks a lot worse than what the game actually was. It was a very competitive game, and Devin Dampier played a terrible game. Right? It's like if he plays better, you don't know what happens. So I just think the fact that they're favorites like that against ASU is they're trying to tell me something. They're like, these guys are legit. And so yeah, I'm doing the win horse for the second time today. I got them at 3. And then my top 2 stays the same. I've had it for, I think, since last week after ASU beat TCU. But I have been pretty high on ASU all season long, Kevin. I will let the record show for all you sickos that hate me so much. I continue to big up the Devils. You know what I mean? And it's just, I'll just get people, I'm going to wind up dead one day because of an ASU fan not liking a joke. Them. And while I'm like simultaneously being like, man, Kenny Dillingham's the best coach in the country, but it's fine. ASU's really good. They might be the best team in the conference. Texas Tech. It's neck and neck, man. And Baron Morton, mom's meatloaf back under center. Does that hurt Texas Tech? I don't know. It might. It does in my eyes. So I don't know. This conference is just so fun. Really excited to see a lot of these really pivotal matchups happen in the next couple of weeks because ASU has Utah and then Texas Tech, right?
That's my favorite part about this conference is that I think it's not, an anti-U of A thing to say that, like, we don't have Big 12 championship expectations as a fan base,
No.
right? But every Saturday, I know I can tune into Big 12 ball, and it's not only relevant to my team, but it's relevant to the national landscape. And I think that's the most fun part. Is, you know me, I'm a basketball guy. Like, that doesn't mean I hate college football, but it's way easier to get amped up for college basketball for me than it is for college football. Knowing that we have huge games every Saturday in the Big 12, I'm all about it, right? I think that's like, if in the Pac-12, if like Stanford is playing, like, I guess Colorado now is a bad example because they have Dion and it's like interesting or whatever. But like if Stanford's playing Colorado, like, I'm not watching that game, respectfully. I don't give a damn, right, who wins that game. It doesn't matter who wins that game in the grand scheme of things, right? But it does matter pretty much who wins most of these Big 12 matchups, because a lot of these teams, I would argue more than half of these teams, still believe that they can go do something major to end their season. So I think that's one of the most fun parts as a fan, for being a part of the Big 12 conference, is that every Saturday, you know, you got bangers waiting for you on that TV.
Absolutely, Kevin. And big part of the reason for that is the quarterbacks, of course, of which we will be doing our QB power rankings tomorrow, right? Because it is every other week on this fine program that we do our quarterback power rankings. And Kevin,
I hear the voices, man.
Are you going to apologize?
No. See, I already did this on
I know, dude. I'm just
Wednesday's pod with the lack of media literacy in the ASU fan base. We're not going to go back to September 2nd where I had Sam Levitt and be like, well, it's October 6th now. Where do you have them? And it's like, dude, we've played how many games as a football fan unit since then? And you're like, well, dude, having him at 8 after he put up 82 is ridiculous. People are going to do that no matter where I put Sam Levitt. So, no, I'm not going to apologize. I was correct.
Or are you going to have him at lower next week?
Yeah, that's what I should do. I should just F around and put him at 16.
Dude,
just to see what
for me, it's Cincinnati, and for you, it's Sam Levitt, personally.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
that's just what we do.
For me, I've decided I hate the entire university and maybe even city of Cincinnati, although I've been one time and I enjoyed myself.
I have been there too. Good
and
spaghetti.
You, a little chilly.
A little cheese.
Yeah, and then you just decided I hate one particular quarterback in college football, and it's my life's mission to tear him down.
I wouldn't go that far, at least on the airwaves. But no, I'm just kidding. But like, I really do think that Sam Levitt has become an overrated player. I don't think he's bad, for the record. I know Ralph is here and he doesn't tune in all the time. So for the record, Ralph, I don't think Sam Levitt's bad. I think he's talented. I just don't think he's nearly as talented as people want me to think he is, based on what he does in some of his games. He's
very good. This is what I'll say. He's very good. He's elite in big moments. Moments.
And that's huge.
The guy shows up when you need him to. Game-winning drives, field goal drives, mostly with his legs, honestly. But he shows up, and so I have respect for him, the player. I also don't think he's as good as what ASU's fans tried to tell us before the season, but that's okay because Jordan Tyson is.
True.
And Cam Scatterby was. So it's not like they're dead wrong all the time. It's just in this one particular circumstance, we disagree with how they evaluate their quarterback. But that's okay. That's okay. We're gonna give our quarterback evaluations tomorrow, so make sure that you tune in for that.
Cobra Kai villain for QB.
Yeah, he really truly is.
That's just what we do.
Let's not do that again on this. We already did enough of that, Kevin. But of course, we will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Giving you the comprehensive coverage of this entire athletic department, whether it's basketball, football, women's basketball, softball, baseball. Kevin, I have been in talks with the women's basketball program about getting our girl, our lady, our fearless leader, Becky Burke, back on the program. I'm trying to be respectful, and because I would say our boy respectfully about a grown man.
No, yeah.
But saying our girl respectfully about a woman just doesn't. It feels a little bit off. So I'm sorry, but I'm.
It came off fine though. That's our girl.
It's supposed to be heartwarming. It's supposed to be endearing.
You know that Kiki Palmer video? That's my girl.
Exactly.
Like that's how we feel about Becky Burke.
We'd love to have Becky the Builder back on this show, ask her some questions, and get her going. About this program before women's basketball season starts, as they just had their media day. But this is the last thing I did want to bring up, Kobe, before we left here. ASU announced a game time for Texas Tech, Kevin. I'm looking at it right here in front of my face. It's at 1 p.m. AZT.
Shout out to the Azerbaijanis.
We're playing Azerbaijan time these days. You got to love it. Well, I didn't know. I knew ASU was going to play the Wembley game. I didn't know they had an Azerbaijan game too.
Rumor has it they're going for the global approach to activating the Valley.
Wow.
Yeah.
Activate the Azerbaijan Valley.
Who knows? I don't know the layout of that part of the world. We can get in trouble for trying to activate the Azerbaijani Valley. I don't know what that means to say it, but we're talking football here, ladies and gentlemen. And Damon, what else we got today?
There isn't a single Azerbaijan Valley, Kevin, but there are multiple valleys and river valleys within the country and its surrounding regions. These include the broad lowlands known as the Kura or the Aras rivers, deep valleys in the Iranian Azerbaijan region's mountains. I mean, really interesting stuff here. Activate the Azerbaijan Valley going on over at ASU. But yeah, that was, if you guys haven't seen that, the Sun Devil Football Twitter account tweeted their kickoff time for Texas Tech versus ASU, and they put AZT because Arizona is not on like typical Mountain Standard Time right now. So they're trying to differentiate it and be like, it's on Arizona time, but AZT is not a thing. So Kobe, of course, looked up what AZT is, and it is Azerbaijan time. Of course, we all knew that. Everyone knew that.
Who else but us?
Yeah. Well, it's always fun when your rival, being an institution of higher learning, does something just kind of silly like that, so that we can all attack them and be like, look at how stupid this university that's 3 spots higher than us in the U.S. public university rankings is. And everyone, that's my favorite thing, Kevin, the U of A versus ASU intellectual superiority.
It's not a race, and we can leave it at that. We're not running the same race. That's all I'm saying.
It kind of is a race.
Well, I guess so. I guess,
they're 2 pretty easy schools to get into. Let's keep it a buck here for a second.
But one has a nickname that is associated with an Ivy League school, and one doesn't. So
I think everybody says the Harvard of the West thing.
Yeah, but we mean it.
I think that's something that every West Coast school does, personally.
Can you imagine going to Stanford, being a student at Stanford, and you have a friend that went to Arizona, and they're like, "Yeah, I went to the Harvard of the West, bro," and you're literally at Stanford.
Yeah.
Anyway.
People at Chico State are probably saying that they go to the Harvard of the West.
The hell is a Chico State?
Really, never heard of them. They used to be the #1 party school in the country.
Party ended for them.
They better than U of A and ASU in party regards. Pretty impressive stuff. But Connor McGrath says it here. They're growing the game out there in AZT. Props to ASU. And as Ralph says, let us innovate. Fair enough. Well, you know what? Just pass them the rock. ISO out, Kevin.
ISO. PJ to Azerbaijan.
I am Damon Fairall. That is Kevin Thomas. We are the AZ Wildcats podcast, and we will be back tomorrow on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. As I said, we're going to try to get our coach, our fearless leader, Becky Burke, on some point later this week, as well as maybe try to talk to some football players after their big win against Oklahoma State. So stay tuned for all types of interviews. Kevin and I are going to be doing a trending podcast on Caleb Holt and his basketball recruitment in the next day or two here. So stay tuned to our YouTube channel and locked in for that. And we will be back on a Tuesday. Like I said, he is Kevin Thomas. You can follow him at KevoPost. You can follow me at Damon Dog. And you can follow us at PHNX_Wildcats on all socials, except for TikTok, where we're at AZ Wildcats Pod. And we got some bangers going up on the TikTok. So if you guys are big on TikTok, make sure that you are following our podcast in the process. Kevin, we're getting out of here on that. Appreciate you, my guy. It's good to have you back in the building. And any last thoughts before we get out of here?
Nah, I'm excited for tomorrow's show. Quarterback Power Rankings. Make sure to tap in with us there as well. Like Damon said, follow us on TikTok. That is my little infant child that I'm trying to grow. I milk it, feed it milk, whatever the hell you do to kids every day. And I'm just trying to develop a young life in the TikTok. So follow us there. Subscribe to the channel. Drink water today. Enjoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's going to do it for us on the AZ Wildcats Pod. Until next time, we'll see ya. Peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. Let Carter Bryant on America's Got Talent now.
We all silly like the mayor.